Hi everyone, I'm Noraisa P. Kamad, BEC3, and this is my topic. Conduct disorder. A conduct disorder is a mental health condition characterized by a persistent pattern of antisocial behaviors that violate the rights of others and disregard social norms, often involving aggression, destruction, deceit, and rule breaking. It is important to note that not every child who acts out has conduct disorder. Many factors can contribute to disruptive behavior such as stress, anxiety, or learning difficulties. A professional diagnosis is crucial to determine the underlying cause and appropriate treatment. Children or adolescents with conduct disorder may exhibit some of the following behaviors. First is the aggression to people and animals. Theirs have an bullies, threatens, or intimidates others. Second is delight in being cruel and mean to others, starts physical fights. Next is has used a weapon that could cause serious physical harm to others, broken bottle, knife, or gun. And next is a physical cruel to people or animals, steals from a victim while hurting them. Next is forces someone into sexual activity. And last is shows genuine rumors remorse after an aggressive episode. Next is destruction of property. First is there's have an deliberately engaged in fire setting with the intention to cause damage. Next is deliberately destroys others' property. And last is deceitfulness, lying or stealing. Has broken into someone else's building, house or car. Lies to obtain goods or favors or to avoid obligations. Steals item without confronting a victim.
Good day, everyone. Before we proceed to my report, let me introduce myself first. My name is Arjun Jesuico, and I am the third reporter from Group 6. Serious violation of rules. First, often stays out at night despite parental objection. Second, runs away from home. And lastly, often stay away from. Children who exhibit this behavior should receive a comprehensive evaluation by an experienced mental health professionals. Many children with a conduct disorder may have coexisting conditions such as mood disorder, anxiety, PTSD, substance abuse, ADHD, learning problem, or thought disorder, which can also be treated. Treatment of children with conduct disorder can be complex or challenging due to the child's uncooperative attitude, fear, and distrust. So that's why we need a professional psychiatrist kasi they know how to handle the child. But kailangan din nilang makuha ang information about the child, the parents, the teacher, and also the community para malaman nila kung ano yung cause ng disorder at alam nila paano i-handle yung bata na hindi natatakot sa kanila. Also, may include medication in some youngsters who have difficulty paying attention, impulse problem, or depression. Also, kapag hindi na naka-receive ng early and comprehensive treatment, pwede nila itong madala into adulthood at pwedeng magka-problema when it comes to relationship or holding a job. So, let's talk about what is ADHD. ADHD or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder is a brain disorder that affects how you pay attention, sit still, and control your behavior. It happens in children and teens and can continue into adulthood. ADHD, ito yung mga bata na madaling madistract, hindi makakapag-focus kapag meron silang ginagawa. Mahilig din silang mag-interrupt ng iba and hindi nakikinig agad kapag pinagsasabihan. Madalas din silang nagtatantrums. So, if your child might have ADHD, it's better to consult a healthcare providers for a proper evaluation and guidance on next step. So, ADHD is the most commonly diagnosed mental disorder in children. It cannot be prevented or cured, but if early pa lang na-consult na yung child into healthcare and having a good treatment, it can help a child to manage their symptoms.
Hi everyone, my name is Angelina Jigisan and DC3. My topic is all about ADHD. Attentive, a child with ADHD. First is easily distracted, doesn't follow directions on finished tasks, doesn't seem to be listening, doesn't pay attention and make careless mistakes, forgets about daily activities, has problems organizing daily tasks, doesn't like to do things that require sitting still, often loses things and tends to daydream. Combined, this involves signs of both other types. Symptoms in adults. Symptoms are ADHD may change as a person gets older. The included often being late or forgetting things, anxiety, low self-esteem, problems at work, trouble controlling anger, impulsiveness, substance misuse or addiction, trouble staying organized, a procrastination, easily frustrated, often bored and trouble concentrating when reading, mood swings, depression, lastly, relationship problems. ADHD versus ADD. Attention Deficit Disorder. ADD is the old name for ADHD. It was officially changes in the 1990s. Some people still use both names to talk about this one condition. ADHD causes. Are you sure what causes ADHD? Several things may lead to it, including: first is genes. ADHD tends to run in families. Chemicals, brain chemicals in people with ADHD. Control attention are used active in children with ADHD. Poor nutrition, infection, smoking, drinking, and substance abuse during pregnancy. These things can affect a baby's brain develop. Toxins such as lead may affect a child's brain development. Damage to the front of the brain called the frontal lobe can causes problems controlling impulses and emotions. Sugar doesn't cause ADHD, also isn't caused by too much TV, a stressful home life, poor schools, or food.
So, hindi madali ang pag-diagnose, especially sa mga kids. So, yung mga doctors, nire-refer nila yung mga may ADHD sa mga psychiatrists, psychologists, and psychotherapists. So, yung mga doctor naman, yung sinusunod nila na guidelines ay mula sa American Psychiatric Association. So yung tatlong nire-refer na doctors para sa mga may ADHD, number one ay ang psychiatrist. So ang psychiatrist is nagfo-focus sila sa mental health problems and yung diagnosis doon. So merong management and prevention. Sa psychologist naman, dito yung sa tao, okay, study of people, kung paano sila mag-isip, mag-act, mag-react, at makipag-interact. At last naman is yung psychotherapist. So, dito, kinakonduct siya with groups, couples, or families. So, hindi lang siya sa mismong may ADHD, kundi may mga kasamahan. So, dito sa psychotherapy ay natutulungan yung mga tao para ma-overcome yung stress, emotional, at yung mga relationship problems at or yung mga bad habits. So, ADHD treatment. So, walang cure, pero may mga effective treatments or medications para sa mga may ADHD. So, itong mga nandito sa screen, so itong mga medications na ito ay tinatawag din na stimulants. So, number one, amphetamine. So, sa amphetamine, nagfo-focus siya sa pag-increase ng focus and energy. So, sa pamamagitan ng mga chemicals tulad ng dopamine at norepinephrine. So, yung mga chemicals nito ay nabo-boost yung brain. So, isa sa mga main ingredients nito ay ang Adderall. Pangalawa ay ang dextroamphetamine. So, mas active form siya ng amphetamine na ginagamit rin para sa mga may ADHD. Pero, itong dextroamphetamine, mas targeted ito and mas potent ito kaysa sa regular lang na amphetamine. Pangalawa ay ang lisdexamfetamine or tinatawag na Vyvanse. So, ito yung long-acting medication. So, sinasabi din na ito ay isang prodrug. So, pag sinabing prodrug, hindi ito magiging active kapag hindi pa napaprocess ng katawan yung medication na ito. Kaya mas smooth ang effect at lower ang chance for abuse kapag tinake ito ng isang may diagnose na ADHD. So, on the other hand, yung methylphenidate naman or tinatawag na like Ritalin or Concerta, so same lang siya, same lang sila lahat, pero may different chemical structure dito. So, nagfo-focus din siya sa self-control by blocking dopamine reuptake. So, dito naman, last is yung dexmethylphenidate. So, also known as Focalin. So, mas refined version siya ng methylphenidate. So, mas potent, kaya mas mababa ang dose. Pero, same ang effect. So, in short, lahat sila ay tumutulong sa attention at behavior control. Pero may kaibahan naman sila sa tagal ng effect nito kapag tinake and yung potency at risk for side effects. So, may mga non-stimulant medications naman. So, isa ito sa mga ginagamit para sa mga ADHD, especially sa mga bata na hindi masyado nagre-respond sa mga stimulants or yung medications na nabanggit kanina or dun sa mga side effects nito. So, number one is atomoxetine or tinatawag na Strattera. So, this is a non-stimulant. So, nagwo-work lang siya para mag-increase yung norepinephrine sa brain. So, hindi ito addictive. So, hindi siya isang literal na drug, pero gradually, over time, gumagana siya. And safe ito para sa mga bata 6 years old and up. Sunod ay ang clonidine and guanfacine. So, these are meds na originally made for people with high blood pressure. Pero ngayon, ginagamit na rin siya para sa mga ADHD treatment. So, itong clonidine at guanfacine ay nag-help siya para mag-calm yung brain, nare-reduce ang hyperactivity at nag-improve rin yung sleep. Kaya madalas, iniinom sila sa gabi. Yung clonidine naman is usually a shorter acting, while yung guanfacine naman is intensive or last longer. So, they last longer daw, no? So, these non-stimulants, so nagagamit siya together with stimulants to improve yung results at ma-manage yung side effects like insomnia. Sunod ay ang therapy. So, mahalaga rin ang iba't ibang therapy para sa mga batang may ADHD. So, number one is special education. So, this helps a child learn at school. So, dito nabibigyan ng suporta sa school setting. So, gamit yung mga individualized learning plans na nakatutok sa strengths and needs ng bata. So, para mas makasabay sila sa klase. So, number two is behavior modification. So, replacing bad to good behavior. So, ang behavior modification, so nagtuturo siya ng mga tamang behavior or pag-uugali. So, ginagamitan ng rewards and consequences. So, nakakatulong ito para mabawasan ang impulsive and disruptive behavior. Pangatlo ay ang psychotherapy or counseling. So dito, natutulungan ng mga bata na maintindihan yung kanilang emotion, paano ma-manage yung stress, at ma-develop yung healthy coping strategies if nakakaranas sila ng stress. So kasama rin dito, tulad ng binanggit ko kanina, yung mga parents para maturuan kung paano mas maayos na i-guide nila yung mga bata. Last ay ang social skills training or teaching behaviors. So, dito sa social skills training, so masyado itong important para sa mga batang may ADHD kasi madalas sa kanila ay nahihirapan makisalamuha sa ibang bata. So, sa training na ito, natuturuan yung mga bata kung paano makipagkaibigan, mag-listen or makinig, makipag-usap, makipag-interact, at ma-resolve yung conflicts in a good way. Sunod ay so bukod sa mga medications at therapy, so may mga medical devices naman at support groups na ginagamit rin para makatulong sa mga may ADHD. So, isa sa approved medical devices ay ang tinatawag na external trigeminal nerve stimulation or ETNS. So, tulad nitong nasa picture, isa itong Monarch device. So, itong device na ito, kinakabit siya sa noo habang natutulog. Tapos, may mga mild electrical stimulation para tulungan yung brain function. So, safe ito sa mga bata age 7 to 12 years old na hindi pa umiinom ng mga stimulant medications. So, on the other hand, meron namang support groups. So, ang support groups, so nabibigyan ng emotional support and practical tips. So, para ito sa mga parents, guardians, at especially sa mga batang may ADHD. So, sa mga groups na ito, merong nabubuong community. So, nakakaintindi sila sa mga challenges ng ADHD at pwede rin silang makakuha ng mga advice mula sa mga school, behavior management, at family life. So, nakakatulong rin ito para ma-feel ng mga bata at ng parents na hindi lang sila ang nag-iisa na nakaranas ng ganoong sitwasyon. So, sa kabuuan, lahat ng nabanggit yung para sa mga ADHD, sa ang condition na ito ay kayang ma-manage ng maayos sa tulong ng tamang combination of medications, stimulants or non-stimulants, therapy, at yung mga special education at yung support sa mga bata na nakapaligid sa kanila. So, para makontrol naman yung symptoms, so importante yung daily routine. Dapat magkaroon ng routine ang isang may ADHD. So, tulad ng eat healthy diet, exercise every day, limited screen time, at get plenty of sleeps. So, para matulungan yung mga taong may ADHD, kailangan may positive reinforcement. So, ibig sabihin, dapat gina-praise din natin sila, gina-compliment natin sila, or i-reward yung mga good behavior para ma-encourage sila. So, to help people with ADHD, so kailangan may schedule or routine tulad ng nabanggit kanina. Talk to your child simply or honestly. So, dapat may sincerity talaga. Focus only to child when you are talking to them. So, buong attention mo nandoon lang sa bata. Be an example of calm or focused behavior. So, be an example. So, as the guardian or parent, dapat unang-una pa lang dapat sa inyo nakikita yung tamang behavior. At next ay yung reward good behaviors tulad ng bagit kanina para ma-encourage yung mga bata. So, bilang part ng family or teacher or guardian, so kailangan natin maintindihan at i-support ang mga batang may ADHD. So, hindi ka pwedeng magsabi na tamad sila or pasaway kasi sa iba lang na paraan nila, kaya nilang mag-focus at i-handle yung kanilang own emotions. So, with the right support, understanding, at patience, so nila maabot nila ng mga taong may ADHD, kahit anong edad man yan, yung kanilang full potential at magkakaroon din sila ng successful future or magandang kinabukasan.
Hello everyone, what is sensory disability? We all know that we have five senses, which is hearing, touch, sight, smell, and taste. As in 95% of the information about the world around us comes from our sight and hearing. A sensory disability can affect how a person gathers information from the world around them. Napaka-importante talaga ng sight at hearing sa atin dahil kung wala ito, napakalaking impact sa isang person kung meron siyang disability sa isa sa dalawang to. Kasi magkakaroon siya ng problema sa pagka-gather ng information na kailangan niya. Also, baka mami-misinterpret niya yung sinabi ng isang tao dahil may disability siya sa example, sa hearing. Ganun. Misinterpret niya yung sinabi ng isang tao na akala niya galit ay hindi pala. Kaya napaka-importante ng sight at hearing at ibang senses natin. Okay, types of sensory disabilities. Okay, first, autism spectrum disorder or ASD. Autism spectrum disorder is a neurological and developmental disorder that affects communication, social interaction, and behavior. It's characterized by differences in social interaction, communication, and repetitive behaviors or interests. ASD is a spectrum disorder, meaning individuals experience varying levels and types of challenges with acceptance, support, and accommodations. Individual with ASD can drive and reach their full potential. ASD has a difficult when it comes to social interaction. Blindness and low vision. Blindness and low vision refer to visual impairment that significantly impact daily life. Blindness, loss of vision that cannot be corrected with glasses or contacts. Blind, kumbaga, wala ng vision yung mata na nakikita niya. low vision, limited vision that cannot be fully corrected, causing difficulties with daily activities. Example, nakikita nyo sa mga taong nagsasalamin, nagko-contacts kasi medyo malabo na yung paningin nila. Hearing loss and deafness. Hearing loss and deafness refers to partial or complete loss of hearing, impacting communication and daily life. It can be caused by genetics, age, noise exposure, or injury. Support system include hearing aids, cochlear implants, sign language, and assistive devices, helping individuals adapt and thrive. So, malaki ding impact sa isang person kung nagkakaroon ng disability when it comes to hearing. Kasi hindi sila makaka-receive talaga ng information sa isang tao kung mayroon silang problema dito. Also, nakukuha din natin yan sa genetics or sa mana ng ating parents or sa edad kung tayo ay medyo matanda na o matanda na. Also, dahil sa pag-expose ng malalakas na music at pati din kung na-aksidente or injury na nangyari sa ating tenga. Sensory processing disorder. Sensory processing disorder or SPD is a condition where the brain has difficult processing and integrating sensory information from the environment, such as touch, sound, sight, taste, and movement. So, ito yun. Madami siyang disorder dito when it comes to senses. When someone has sensory processing disorder, they are able to sense the information. However, the brain perceives and analyzes the information in an unusual way. Also, some people with sensory processing disorder are oversensitive to things in their environment. So, a person who has SPD, they are able to receive an information. Pero, alam sila yung parang napaka-sensitive when it comes to their environment. So, nasabi din doon is yung touch, sound, sight, and taste. It is yun yung apat na parang ng SPD. Except sa hearing. Kasi nakaka-receive naman sila ng information. Yun lang yung problema sa kanila. Masyado silang sensitive sa kanilang environment. Kung ano man yung naririnig nila, nalalasahan, or nakikita.